Hello, this is Yayoi Komiyama from Brain to Belly, and welcome to the Spanglish World Networks on Zingo TV, channel 250 and 251. Please remember to download both the Zingo TV app and the respective app stores on iOS and Android devices. And while you download, make sure to rate and leave a comment. The app is free, and Zingo TV is also available on Google Chromecast, Amazon Fire, Fire TV sticks, Roku sticks, and also on all smart TVs 2016 and forward. So welcome everyone. And today I have, of course, as you know, she's become a regular on my show here, um, Coach Cindy Gould, and she is the founder of the Victorious Life Network, and she is also she's the owner of Cindy Gould International. And she is just a dear friend of mine. I always say she's my sister from another mother. So thank you, Cindy, for joining us today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me back. I love being here. You know that we can just sit here and yak till the camera turns off.
It's so true. But one time I was talking to Cindy, I think because we didn't have a chance to talk to each other.
Right.
And I remember, yeah, because we usually talk or text at least every day. And there was a span where we weren't able to. And I said to Cindy, do you want to be on my show so at least we'll have chance to talk to each other? How silly is that? But hey, it is.
If it works.
Yeah, if it works, exactly. And no, she and I have been, oh gosh, we have bonded so much with our neuroencoding. We're both coaches that have learned neuroencoding, and with Joseph McClendon III, who is our mentor.
Yeah.
And that really brought us close together, I think.
Yeah.
And then we've already gone on different ventures into John Maxwell, Freedom Point. We're both certified in those modalities, and also neuroencoding has been something that we Joseph McClendon always says, "Physician, heal thyself," and
Yes.
we do not teach theory.
Nope.
And I think that has been the greatest impact that I've had in all of the learnings I've had, because I've gone through many modalities and
Yeah.
many workshops and through many mentors, right? And I would really say that Joseph is my mentor
Good.
because of that phrase. And I know that Cindy, you have had, you've lived physician heal thyself
Oh boy.
in your own life, and I believe that that is what helps us to become better coaches for people,
Oh yeah.
and it's just a life thing that if it creates that alignment within us to have integrity, to really be a coach from the heart, not just here. I mean, I don't want to diss coaches or anything like that, but there are some coaches out there that aren't aligned in the heart area.
Mm-mm.
And and I know that with neuroencoding, we are all heart centered. And that's where a lot of it comes from. So um, yes, so I wanted to ask you if you would mind telling our viewers or audience here a little bit about your history and the physician heal thyself concept.
Yeah, and we're also both of us certified with Dr. Daniel Amen as well. And doing those things together. I actually heard that term physician heal thyself a bunch as a kid. And so for me, and walk your talk and, all those kind of one
Yes,
liners, right? The biggest thing to me is really figuring out, and it's Joseph's number one thing. What do you want? Like,
yeah,
what do you want? And what do you want? Where are you at? And how do you, basically collapse time and mitigate, the things that are in the middle
right.
between preventing you from getting what you want. And that that space right there, that's your healing.
Yes.
Typically, right? You know, what's stopping me from having XYZ? Well, first thing is going to be, well, what do you believe? Like, you know, and what do you have to believe to have that? For instance, let's just say that it's just even that it's love in your life. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting because I have a thing that I do when I feel pushback in or resistance in any spots. And
Yes.
the things I ask is, what would love do?
Ah.
What would love do in this situation? What would joy do in this
Mm-hmm.
situation? Because, you know, and I default to gratitude all the time because that's what collapses time for me nine
Yes.
times out of 10. And when I sit in a space of gratitude, it really it points me in a direction to where I can have more clarity. You know, it's funny because you know, my other sissy from another missy, so to speak, is, you know, Doc Weber, of course,
Yes.
Dr. Josephine Weber, best dentist ever,
Yes.
and uh, and
That's
just a little
awesome.
bit. And then, but you know what? She said something to me one time, and it was so powerful. She said, "When you complain, you remain."
Ah, I love that.
Love that. Now check it out. And when you praise, you get raised.
I love that. That's
Right?
great. I'm writing it down.
Use it, use it, use it. So let me tell you a little bit about my story. And I mean,
Uh-huh.
it's interesting because I think about this and I think how, you know, where do you go with there's different seasons in your life. And so
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of which season of my life would really help your audience, especially with
Thank
what
you.
you're talking about. And I'll go back to, you know, there's like what Joseph would call the toxic 10, and we all have, you know, the fears in our lives. And it's,
Yes.
of course, we can say them together: procrastination,
Fascination,
hesitation, fear
hesitation,
of success,
fear.
fear of failure,
Yes.
imposter syndrome, self doubt, self loathing, stress,
Overwhelm.
overwhelm, and then, of course,
Fear
the
of
ever so popular fear of rejection
yes.
and slash abandonment, I would
Yes.
say. You know, I mean, they
Oh,
kind of,
yeah,
you know, they're like, because they're kind of this, you know, in the same family.
I
And
agree.
what's so interesting about that is that I didn't realize that I had this specific fear. Now, I'll tell you this story. So, when, and
Mm-hmm.
I probably shared it before, at least, no, I have on my show, if not on one of yours. So when I was young, I have five brothers and I have a sister, but I was a girly girl, but I was a real tomboy. Like I was athletic and everything I did, and I don't mean this in arrogance, but I just did it really well. I had
Mm-hmm.
great grades. I was great at track. I was great, you know, at the different sports and I remember even I was sixth grade-ish, seventh, whatever, played on the girls' softball team, and some parents got together and tried to make it so I had to play on the boys' softball team or baseball team because I was so good. Now, here's what's funny. As a little girl, and at the time we lived in Utah, which my family still does, and I'm Hawaiian and I was caramely colored. And back then in Farrah Fawcett land,
Yes.
we were the ethnic, you know, whatever. And when I was younger, before I had children, I had darker skin. I mean, it's so funny. Then when I had children, the more I had, the lighter my melanin got. So weird, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm thinking instantly, they don't love me. They don't want me. They don't want me around their girls. Like that's what locked and loaded
Of,
in me.
yeah.
Okay. Of course, right? Okay. So at the same time, I'm running track and whatever in school, and I'm winning and I'm winning and I'm winning. And when I cross the finish line, I see my family, yeah, and I see the other parents making the, you know, whatever claps, but I saw their disappointment. Now, it's locking and loading in me. Oh my gosh, when I win, when I'm successful, I
Other
hurt
people.
people.
Yeah.
I disappoint them.
Yeah.
Now, here's what's interesting. So then I started building, unbeknownst to me, a fear of success,
Yes.
right? I didn't know that's, and you know what? I would have argued that point even as an adult because even in business, everything I touched, you know, in sales, it turned to gold. So I'm highly successful, right? So I'd be like, there's no way I'm afraid of success. You know what I mean? Because I'm right. This is what happened. As I started doing this, and our friend, Dr. Stephen Crawford, he pointed this out to me when I shared this with him, because what I started doing when I was running track, I would get almost to the end and I'd slow down
Slow down.
just a teeny bit
Hmm.
so one of my friends could win. Now, I couldn't do that every time because it would freak me out inside. Because you train to, right?
Win, yeah.
Win, right? But I would do that every so often. And then the looks on everybody's faces, right, would still reinforce the fact that, oh my gosh, I didn't win. All these people are happy. I know. It is.
It's
This is
so
what
sad.
it is sad. And you know what's funny? Not Stephen said this, and he was so wise. He said, "Oh, you were losing to win,
Win, yeah.
right?" Now, fast forward. Where does that translate? So in my outward looking, Cindy's successful at this. Cindy's doing this. She's successful. La 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 la. And in my personal relationships, intimate relationships, I ended up in relationships with abuse and other things like that, where I magnetized and married or was with someone that reflected back to me that,
Yes.
so
Yes.
that every time I was successful, that person was not kind,
Hmm.
not
Hmm.
whatever.
Yep.
And,
Yep.
and so it reflected that back to me. I didn't, until I connected that dot, right? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
then, right. And so then this is what happens, and this pertains to the brain to belly. And so then in my life, of course, as you know, I had a few miscarriages and other things. And I did, I've had given birth to 5 children. I have 6 children. And yet 3 of my boys are in heaven, right? 3 of my sons. And and this is what is so powerful for me. When I had in the around 2007, 2008, it was 2008, I was almost 6 months pregnant, and I wasn't expecting to be pregnant because I was much older than when I would have anticipated having children.
Yes. Yes.
It was one of those surprise. But then we all as a family got excited and other things. But ironically, I had a daughter who was also pregnant at the same time. So anyway, I gave birth early, and it was not, he was already gone, and I was about 6 months pregnant. Now that had happened to me 20 years prior, and I was 6 months pregnant, both boys. And so Kalani was the one that I gave birth to in 2008. What that did at that time was I was like done. You know what I mean? But inside, or on the outside, you wouldn't have known that, except for one thing. I started to retain and gain weight. And I started to gain all this weight. And then I got to a space where, and I was like a solid, like a small, like solid 6, which women would know what that is.
Yes.
And and then this is what happened though. I would even do the juice fast. Oh golly, what did I do? Juice fast, Herbalife. I mean, you name it, right?
Yeah. Yep.
What was the other one? Lemon
And
and
master cleanse.
yes, thank you. And
I do that too.
everything, right?
Yes.
Like and even when I wasn't like just eating all day or anything, because it didn't happen like that. It
No.
it wasn't like that, and I wasn't like this nonstop eater. And I didn't eat. We ate. I mean, I cook, so we ate pretty healthy
Healthy.
meals.
Hmm.
So I couldn't figure out what the heck, is going on, and work out, still nothing. And, or I juice fast, and I mean, or legit liquid juice fast,
Yeah.
18 days. I'll never forget this. Released, I don't know how many pounds in 18 days of doing that. Maybe 8, 9, whatever.
Sounds.
And
Hmm.
ate a bite of rice. I'm not kidding. And I'm Hawaiian, right? So I like, hey, a
Of
bite,
course.
because you're Japanese.
Yeah.
I ate a bite of rice. I mean, and it was like 5 pounds the next morning. I thought,
Yeah.
what is happening?
Yeah.
And so one day, my son Nicholas, he said to me, he said, well, Mom, he said, that's just sad fat.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what do you mean? And then, but it hit me because it hit me here because I
Yeah.
heard it
Yeah.
here, right?
Yes. Yes.
And I'm like, ooh,
Yeah.
that's sad fat.
Yeah.
And so Yes, I also found other methods that were helpful to me. And, that helped me. They were just tools. One of
Hmm.
them being even bariatric surgery. I mean,
Right.
this was like 5 years later.
Hmm.
And but this was the key to that because I had to get a handle on my sadness. I
Yeah.
had to get a handle on any unforgiveness. I
Yes.
had to get like all of those things,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Because if not, what I realized was when you carry those emotions, it hijacks your metabolism
Oh, totally.
regardless of, right?
Yeah.
Consequently, I mean, golly, that was over 10 years ago. I have released, like 130 pounds. Thank you. But in between, yay. And in between that, though, like I gained back
Hmm.
before I moved out and before I separated. Holy cow. Like I gained back like 45 pounds or whatever. And I had to get a tweak with my
Hmm.
body and all this to get back on track. And I will say, it was here's what was so beautiful, and this is how I knew that I had healed through so many things, is when I went through that season of
Yeah.
my life in 2021 and 2022 and had so much, consistent loss. And I didn't gain any weight back. I continued to release my weight. And
Yeah.
it was, and I was like, oh, I've never had a sadder and time in my entire existence than that year. And I continued to release weight, and I thought, oh, this is
Yeah.
it's all about that,
It's
right?
yeah, it's the healing. And wow, thank you for sharing that because I'm sure that story, people that are listening can relate so much to it because all of us have things that are like, that are traumatic in our lives. I mean,
Mhm.
that's just life, right?
Right.
Sadly. And the longer you live, of course, the more um, you're going to have incidents like that or situations like that. And it's really how our body handles that and
Yep.
how it starts with our psychology. Yeah.
100%.
So, like the brain to belly thing, meaning that it
Mhm.
really is our psychology that creates emotions, which are electric, and it's not woo woo. It's not, yeah, people are like, "What are you talking? This sounds so woo woo, like new agey, blah blah blah." But it's not. It is science because thoughts are created by electrical currents, right? And those currents go down into our heart area, which creates feelings. And
Yep.
those feelings are creating, different electrons, protons, whatever, electricity that either, yeah, you're projecting that, and that's going to either attract or detract, meaning you're going to reject
Yep.
lots of things. And I think people forget that we are electrical beings. I mean, that kind of sounds weird, but it's true. The human body is, I mean, molecules, are, where am I going back to primary science? But molecules are electrons, protons,
100.
and neutrons, right?
Yep.
So I'm glad I remembered all that. Maybe it helps that I used to watch Dexter's Laboratory. Sorry. I'm sorry. But yeah, well, hey, that helped me to
Yeah.
remember all of it too, right?
Well,
But yeah, we tend to forget that because that's not in the forefront, but that is where everything starts.
100%. And so, I mean, here's the thing. So, in order to magnetize, right? I mean,
Yes.
everything is like what we've learned because of Joseph and the way that 60% psychology. And what's our psychology?
Yes.
It's what the way that we
Yes.
consistently see um, ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
others, and the
And
world
the world
around us,
around us.
right?
Yep.
So then here's what's crazy is it's 20% electricity and then 20% magnetism, right?
Yep.
And to your point, our brain is electric. It
Yes.
is electric. And there's, I mean, whatever to the woo-woo, because it's absolutely electric. That's science.
Yeah.
And our parts are magnetic. And as
Right.
we think, so we feel.
Feel. Yes.
And as we feel, so we do, and our
Do.
thoughts are things, and
Yes.
so we do, and
We
as we do, so we have.
have. Yep.
So what happens? Like, let's just even apply it to my physician heal thyself. So
Mm-hmm.
what did I have? I had a body that was carrying more weight than it needed to carry.
Yep.
And you don't know how bad you feel till you feel good. And I say
So
that
true.
to everyone that if we're just talking even weight,
Mm-hmm.
I say that to everyone that has some weight to release.
Yes.
Okay. And so and I say release, not lose, because here's the deal. When you lose something, you want to find it.
I
You
did.
lose
Yes.
a piece, you want to find it. You lost your mind, you better freaking find it. You know, but when you lose a loved one, even you want them back.
Yeah.
So if you say I'm losing weight, you will constantly, you're going to be magnetizing,
Agree.
right? Because
Yep.
emotionally, you're like, I gotta find it. So you're gonna bring things to you like cake, like
Yes.
Doritos, like you and the hot Cheeto thing that you love, or whatever it is, right? I mean, and I say that because we all, or the crepe cake that you and I
Yeah.
love,
Oh
or
God. Yeah.
yeah, exactly, right. But here's what's so funny. So you go back up the ladder. So I have this extra weight. And then okay, so what did I do to gain that? What was I feeling to do
Yes.
that?
Yes.
What was I thinking to feel that?
Yes.
Right? And when you feel even the fear of success or the of rejection,
Action. Yes.
because everything it's like primary colors. You're an artist, so it's like primary colors, red, yellow, and blue, and every
Mm-hmm.
color stems from those, right?
Yes.
Well,
Yes.
fears to me, they all stem from fear of rejection,
I agree. I agree.
right?
100%. Yes.
Everybody wants to be loved and everybody
Of
wants to be the
course.
cool kid and everybody, you know what I mean? It's like,
Oh yeah.
right? And I
Love is where it's at. Yeah.
100%.
And
100%.
that's what we all crave as human beings, even from the
Mhm.
moment that we give, we're born, right?
Yep.
We want love and comfort
Yes.
because we came out of that womb that was nice and warm and comfortable and safe.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden we're like outside in this,
Ah,
yeah, all exposed air, no water, no comfort, no warmth, right? And
nice.
of course, we're going to want that. And that's the human nature, or that's the human situation, is that we all want to create and recreate that safety and that warmth and love. And that's our challenge, or that's the task that we have, is how do we do that for ourselves
Right.
and for others, for our loved ones.
Right. Well,
And it's
right.
electricity. I know it sounds funny, but it is electricity.
Well, here's the thing. Everything your brain doesn't know the difference between reality and not.
Yes.
So when and we both know this because we both have said this because of Dr. Amen. Don't believe every stupid thing you think. I mean,
Yep.
and so
Exactly.
you have to really be mindful and govern your thoughts and
Oh,
what comes through your ears, your eyes, and all of that.
always.
And there's even things that, like, if you fall asleep watching Criminal Minds, chances are you're on edge or you know what I mean, because it's like diabolical and freaky, or I mean, there's certain things that when you're continuing to be fed and
Yeah.
your unconscious mind doesn't forget anything.
Right. You're
Everything's in
unconscious.
there, whether you
Yep.
can go on it or not. Like,
Yep.
it's all there, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It is. And like you said, I mean, you know, okay, I'm not. I don't mind watching like slasher stuff and Game of Thrones. I'm that kind of a person. And that doesn't bother me because I know it's fake.
Mhm.
Everything is fake. But however, if, for instance, I see something that is very real, like on a newsreel, or that's not make believe, let's say,
Yeah. Right.
then I that'll really impact me.
Yeah.
And so I cannot fall asleep watching the news. Like, the news is one thing that I don't watch
Me
and I
neither.
don't listen to.
Me neither.
I go in search of my news because I know I want to control what comes in and what goes,
Mm.
how I govern myself, my mind.
100%.
And I think we all need to have that awareness, like you said, to govern what comes into our lives and into our minds because, like you said, our brain doesn't know what's real and what's fake.
Right.
And we have to be diligent about how we how we approach our own lives.
Right.
And we kind of have to treat it like our baby, you
Right.
know? And like
Right.
we would never let our child watch, you know, or even be in a situation where they're going to be harmed. So we have to do that with our brains. And I know that kind of sounds like, what is she talking about? But, you know,
No,
it's
it's true.
true. Yeah. And let me tell you, the brain is it's a delicate organ, really.
Mhm.
And, you know, I mean, there's spikes inside your skull to hold the brain, but that's to hold the brain. And the brain is just a soft, soft piece of tissue, really.
Right.
And it is so vulnerable. Like one, like, you know, I had my fall last year, which was really scary for me
It
because
was scary. It was scary for me. I was on the phone with you when you did it.
I know, I know.
It was, and you're
I'm like,
across
I'm
the.
like an idiot. Like, should I go to the doctor?
Are you kidding me right now, brain coach? No. I'm like, yes. Well, I mean, tell them the backstory. You literally just left the hospital.
Yeah, I had left. I was about to leave a clinic, an urgent clinic. Let's just say that.
Mm-hmm.
No names. I was about to leave an urgent clinic because I had fractured my ankle. I had a fall a couple days before, and I had gone to urgent care. And I was like, it's probably just a spray. And my bestie here, Cindy, say, you better get it checked. I have a different feeling about it. So I was like, okay, I'll go. They took an x-ray, and of course I had fractured my ankle, and I'm in a boot and I'm in crutches. I'm checking out of urgent care. Somebody walks right behind me. I lose my balance. I fall backwards like something out of like a cartoon, even like I don't know, slapstick comedy, something like that. I fall backwards, and I don't know why everything was in perfect order for this to happen. The bathroom door was open. I fell right over, and it was a good thing I didn't hit the toilet, but
Mm-hmm.
I did hit the ground,
Right.
and it swelled up like right here. It swelled up so much that if I put my hand here, I
Mm-hmm.
could feel the heat coming off of my head.
Holy cow.
And if you think of that, like,
Phone.
if you think of that, like maybe, gosh, what would be something like an egg? Let's say you had a raw egg, right? That's in the shell, and you put that in a container, and let's say it's like a plastic container so that it's not as harsh as metal. But, and then if you rattled it like this, what happens? It may not break, but it'll definitely have cracks in it, right?
Uh-huh.
And it's like that with your own brain that we have to be very, very careful with it
100%.
because it could get bruised. And it did get bruised.
Yeah.
And I did have short term memory loss, which
Yeah.
was like freaky because I would see faces and I couldn't get their names. I just didn't know their names.
Scary.
It was very frightening. And, you know, I wasn't at the age where I should be starting Alzheimer's or anything. So, starting Alzheimer's, sorry. Well, or dementia. I mean, my dad passed away from dementia,
I'm sorry.
but yeah, no, it's all right. But it happens, and that's why, you know, I'm so concerned about brain health and all this and that. And I did go to Dr. Amon's clinic after that because I was really concerned about this because
Yep.
it lasted more than I thought it would.
Yep.
And I had to retrain my brain basically because those synapses, they kind of lost the connection. They kind of went like this because of the juggle in the head and all this. So it's like when you drop your phone or when you drop a piece of equipment, right? The
Mm-hmm.
wires get jumbled up or they don't align anymore.
Right.
So I had to go in there personally to kind of like rewire it.
Yep.
So I had to start, you know, doing exercises to rewire my brain to remember everything and create new synapses. And the wonderful thing is that the human body is such a miracle that you can do that.
100%. Well,
Yeah.
that's how I released and kept off that
Yeah.
weight, because I rewired that
Yes.
programming. I reprogrammed my brain and my mind. And here's what a lot of people don't get. So there's a scripture in the Bible that says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he.
Yes.
And the Heart Math Institute has proven, and it's science, that
Yes.
you actually, the first thing I think that actually forms in a fetus, in that cute little bean, is the brain. That there's a brain in your heart.
Heart. Yes.
And so when you think about that, and if your heart's magnetic and your brain here, and they darn well better align, or you're hijacking yourself all day long. So your brain says, I want to lose weight, or release the weight, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want to be this, I want to be that. And your heart's like, oh my gosh, they're going to reject me if I'm successful, and there's going to this and that, and I better not. And then, oh, you need to be protected because people are mean, or
Right.
whatever the thing is. And if you've experienced sexual abuse,
Yes.
or any kind of abuse, and you've got all those things, and oh no, I can't do that. Or, if you've had bigotry in your life, I can't show up, I can't be present, I can't step up,
Right.
I can't speak up, all those things. And this is what you're pumping out.
Yes.
What happens is your frequency, because we want everything is designed to bring you that experience, because that's what you're believing.
Yes.
Again, what do you have? What do you do to get what you have? What do you feel to do what you do? And what do you think to get your feelings? I mean,
Yes.
it's so succinct that it really is simple, not easy, but
Yes.
simple. And so
Simple.
I feel so compelled to say this. So anybody who's listening now or listening in the future, this is for you.
Yeah.
Okay. Because this is like, I need to say this. Life is this precious gift,
Yes.
and it is short and fleeting.
Yes, it is.
We've the three of us, including Eduardo, our phenomenal producer,
Producer. Yes.
Spanglish World Network, etc. We've all experienced great loss in our lives, as I'm sure most of you have, whether it's a parent, a sibling, a child, or children, all of that.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say this, you got this much time here. Do what you came here to do.
Yeah.
And abandon all the fear, and just say, forget that, and be as big and bold and as joyful and happy as you want to be.
Yes.
And step out and have the courage to just say, okay, here I
This
am.
is, yeah.
Let's
And
go. Right?
it's so true. It's so true. And, you said life is fleeting. And that's one of the things, well, I'm going to go back to me and the cherry blossoms, but cherry blossoms they're a symbol of beauty, but they are very fleeting. That beauty only lasts like maybe a week or two.
Yep.
And, and in essence, our lives are kind of like that. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, our life is so short that instead of spending that time in negativity and like depression and, you
Fear.
know, fear, hurting yourself, instead of doing that, live it
Right.
and experience all that it has to give you. Because when you find your tribe, like, if I didn't have Cindy in my life, I would be lost. I would be lost because she creates a lot of she's my family, right? And I have a family of people that I
Yep.
surround myself with. So we always talk about the 5 people that you should surround yourself. Proximity is power. And it's
100%.
power to me to feel safe, to be who I am.
Right.
And I know that I think I told you this recently. I went back to Tokyo, and it's been 10 years probably.
So,
And I've had lots of hangups about Japanese society because
mm,
I've been hurt and with that society.
mm,
And 10 years ago I was different too. I didn't have this personal growth, and I
right.
didn't know about Joseph then as well. So, and I've gone through a lot of my own personal issues and losing a parent, also,
Yes.
going through healing myself as a person. So this time when I went back, I didn't have any of those hangups, and I was able to be. It was also, I needed the courage to do it, I but knowing that everyone, like Cindy and my family, that I have, had my back, I was able to be who I was. And I was like, okay, I'm not the norm, and that's okay.
That's
I don't
great.
care. Like, I remember I was just wearing the stuff that I would always wear here, right? Instead of, normally when I went back to Japan, I would always try to dress as other Japanese women would dress.
Right.
This
Wow.
time around, I was
Wow.
like, because you know me, I am totally not like that.
Nope. No, you're the girl that dressed as Barbie for Comic-Con last year. Girlfriend. So,
That was so fun.
I know, blonde wig and all.
Yes. Well, it's
Which is
fun.
great.
And
So,
life needs, you have to inject fun into it,
oh my God.
because laughter and fun is what we're here for too.
Yes.
That when you laugh, when you smile, the energy that you project and you
Yes.
create in yourself is
Yes.
very contagious, and
Yes.
it changes the energy within you, the electricity within you,
Mhm.
and you start magnetizing the
Right.
things that you want. And what
Right.
was that quote that Joseph said? Oh, mighty forces will come to your aid.
100%. But this is the thing,
Yes,
you have to commit. So
yes,
when you commit and you make a decision, so let's say, because we have, we're so excited because Eric Stenlake of Energetic Life Now
yes,
and the Empowered Family Network,
yes.
yes,
Empower Family Network
yes,
on
on Facebook, go
Facebook.
join his group. The three of us are doing a mastermind for 2025 that you can all join.
Yes,
And what I'm so excited about is that it really is about, what? Are you finally gonna release that weight, go on that trip, get the raise, do the thing, start your business, get married, find the man, find the woman, have the baby, whatever it
live
is,
your life.
live your life. Like, and are
Yeah,
you finally going to do it? And so we've put together Power Surge 2025,
woo-hoo.
Ignite Your Unstoppable Success. So excited. But it's really going to be about that. We're going to take you on the journey of ditching the fears, getting
Yes,
over it, and mitigating from here where you are to where you want to be. And it really boils down to, how are you going to get there? How do you
yes,
do it? And how do you sustain it?
yes, yes,
That's the thing. It's because you have to contend. When you say, physician, heal thyself, you have to contend for that healing. And what I mean by that is that is that you can, let's say you release, you go, and I'll just do it even this way. Let's say that you go and you get a gastric sleeve or bypass or
yeah.
whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Do you realize that when you do that, you can actually gain your weight back
Yeah.
and then some, if
Mm-hmm.
you do not change this, which will change this, which will change this, what you do, and then changes what you have, so you contend for your healing. And
Yes,
where is that biggest contention? In your mind.
yes,
And every time that thought comes up, we have techniques and tools that we've
yes.
we've talked on both of our shows
Mm-hmm.
about. And if you don't remember what they are, the stop technique, just shoot one of us a message on Facebook.
Okay.
What's
Yes,
that stop technique? But those are some of the things we'll go through, plus gratitude. Now, gratitude is,
such a
and
big,
I'm going to tell you, because you know me, I'm a big Dr. Joe Dispenza girl.
yes,
I am 100% on board with him. Every single thing you want. I believe that God has a warehouse of everything you could possibly want with your name on it. And all you got to do, like Joseph says, put in the order.
yes,
Like Dr. Joe says, align with that frequency. Same
yep,
thing. I
yep,
say, just, grab your remote, point and click, and get in that frequency. You put the order in, and then you just line up. If you
yep,
do not want to watch HBO, then watch PBS, then you better line up with PBS, right? Or whatever it is.
yep, yep. It
But
is
it's
true.
it's going to boil down to gratitude,
Yeah.
because that's the place where when you commit to doing something, mighty forces will come to your aid. And when you see it as done and
Yes.
you walk in the frequency that it's already done because
Done. Yes.
somewhere it's done for you,
Yeah.
it shows up.
It does. It does. And you'll start noticing once you start working on yourself in that manner, you'll start seeing small little things that the
Synchronicity.
power, yeah, that it's destiny, it's synchronicity. You'll start seeing that in your life and you'll see more and more of it, which means you're attracting so much more of it.
Yeah.
And it sounds easy, yes, like we said earlier, it sounds easy, but it's a lot of work, but you have to put in the work, so you have to commit to doing this. And I mean, Cindy and I are, our energy here, and our friend Eric Stenlake, who is also very, very energetic, and we are going to combine our forces to
Woo!
really, yeah, yeah. We're gonna be there like the
Look out.
superhero trio. I don't know, but we're going to be there to create, yeah, to help you create your own superhero within you, that superhero spirit within you. Okay, I'm going to be going to Comic Con soon, so like in a few weeks. So I'm like really excited about that. But that's why superhero. But it's it's but in not just superhero, but to be your best self,
Yes.
because there's a big difference between being alive and living. To
Oh,
exist and to live is two different
two
things.
different things. And life, friends, is too short. So get up and figure out. It comes down to very basic things. If you strip out everything that you've learned, everything that people say you are, the reflection you get from people because of whatever, and you literally, kind of like Julia Roberts in that Runaway Bride, and you sit down and you taste every type of egg there is and decide what you really like. And if the hollandaise sauce is too lemony and you don't like that, and then you don't like scrambled eggs because whatever, but you like them over easy, sunny side up, whatever that is, figure it out, and you figure out who you are. Determine why you're here. Now, how do you figure out why you're here, what your purpose is? Follow your passion, follow your peace, and follow your joy.
Yeah.
What brings
Yes.
you the most joy? What lights your soul on
Oh,
fire? What do you
yeah.
get fired up about? Do you get fired up every time you lift a hood of an old beater truck and you're in there tinkering around and you're like on fire for that? Well, follow that. Do you get fired up when you're, wondering, going from one website to another? How does this work? How does this connect?
Yeah.
Well, or do you get fired up standing in front of people speaking, or pouring your heart out to somebody on the subway and listening, and those kinds of things? And then when you follow those things, and then here's what's interesting. I had a conversation with somebody, actually a client, the other day, and we were talking about peace. And when I say peace, and I know you know this, yes, like for instance, we've both spoken publicly, and we
Yes.
could speak in front of an audience of one, or
Right.
biggest audience for me was 21,000. And in
Wow.
and in my, yeah, you think you're like this, right? Like, oh my gosh. Well, here's what's interesting. When I say follow peace here, or here, more
Hmm.
here, I was a little nervous until my mom said, "What are you focused on? You or them?" Basically. And so then I got over myself.
Right. Right.
But or that peace that's so deep in your belly, and there's a
Yes.
scripture that says that peace that passes all understanding.
Yeah.
So you still move forward with courage, and so when I say pursue peace, get it locked and loaded in your belly, the third brain in your body, right?
Yes. Yes.
And get it, brain to belly, guys, get it
Thank you.
loaded in there. And then when you pursue that, then it's so much easier to flow without fear,
Yeah.
right?
It is.
And just to really, and you're never without fear, like things are going to pop up,
Oh,
but you
definitely.
fear less,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And
Fearless.
then just to be joyful and
Yeah.
excited, and then grateful for everything you have,
Yeah.
for the pen,
Yeah.
for the phone,
For the air that we're breathing, for
for
the connection, the internet connection that I have here with
yeah,
you.
that I have internet because
Yeah,
I'm on satellite, for the fact that we both live in states right now when I've got a dear friend that her family has lost everything in the hurricane.
yeah,
Like, in fact, and she was saying, I think I shared her neighbor, like water's filling. And it didn't occur to me that it's not just seawater, it's sewage.
yeah,
So all their wedding albums, everything, like their babies' things, their stuff. Well, where Rachel lived, her neighbor, 94 years old, lives alone, and held on to like a mattress that was floating, had like this much between she and the ceiling, and was there overnight by herself
oh,
till
wow,
the water went down. And then, and imagine the heat and the humidity that was going on. This was
yeah,
just what, 2 weeks ago,
yeah,
and now they're hit again,
yeah,
right? And I think about that, but be grateful for what we got. Like,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, I get grumpy about snow, and I'm like, get over yourself. You live in a beautiful place.
Well, I mean, for me, I hate rain, right?
Yeah.
It's like I'm like, I don't know. It's also because I get bad hair day, but also I don't like that wet feeling. And I mean, I've walked in the rain where my sneakers get all wet, or even if I'm wearing
Yeah,
rain boots, I get so much rain in my shoes that it gets icky. You know that
I don't
feeling.
like that feeling.
And I hate that feeling when your clothes are just sticking to you in the rain. I mean, it's one thing if it's like a downpour in the summertime and it's like you're out in Hawaii or Florida and you're on the beach. That's a different story. But when rain just kind of like it's kind of like to me, right? And I have a dog, so I have to take her out, even rain, snow,
Sometimes you
whatever,
Mhm.
because I don't want her peeing in the house. Sorry. Well, I don't. I mean, she could
That's so true.
yeah, I mean, come on, it's not fun. It's like if you don't flush your toilet, right?
Ew.
Right? I mean, or like the latrines that you go to in camping grounds. I don't know, back in the day. I
Yeah,
know
back
these
in the
days
day.
they porta potties, but
Oh
at
my
least it's a
god.
lot better than the latrines I remember that were like wood
Right.
and yeah, whatever. But kind of like that, and you don't wanna be living in a situation like that,
No.
and so I have to take her out. So even if it's raining, I mean, if you would laugh sometimes at how I look when I'm out when it's raining because I have my raincoat on with the hoodie, and then I have my umbrella, and then sometimes if it's raining really bad, I put the umbrella on top of my dog, which I think is silly. I think people laugh at me, but I
But
feel so
right.
bad because she doesn't wanna wear her raincoat, so I'm like, "Okay."
Oh my
So
gosh.
yeah, so I put the umbrella on top of her, and I'm wearing my rain hoodie and my rain poncho and all this and that with my rain boots. People laugh at me, but I'm like,
You
"I
gangsta.
know." And I'm like, "I'm not gonna melt," but, I just don't like that feeling of getting all wet and icky. Who knows? Maybe I drowned in a past life or something, or as a baby, I was out in the rain and, it's traumatized me or whatever. Who knows?
Oh my gosh. You're so funny.
I don't know if that was the case, but yeah, so, but the thing is, I feel gratitude for the rain because without the rain, we won't have water.
Oh, and I mean, I live in such a majestic place that I and be either here or even in Hawaii. I mean, which is, where I'm
Yeah.
from, and it's just it's so beautiful and so green. Like, I remember when I lived in Seattle, and I had family members that would say, "Doesn't the rain freak you out?" And I'm like, and here's what's funny. It's so beautiful and green and Puget Sound and everything else. I honestly didn't notice the rain. And I moved from Hawaii to Seattle. When I moved there, I didn't even own socks and I didn't have a coat. Like,
Okay.
seriously, like I lived in Hawaii,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then I'm in Seattle and I'm like, holy smack, it's cold here.
Yeah.
But I remember telling my family, nope, I'm my own walking sunshine.
Yes.
And it's so funny because then I start thinking, I kind of am, aren't I?
Yeah.
And then that's again back to feel, do, have,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes,
And so, and it boils down to that. And just to kind of bring everything back toward, to our
yes,
conversation, is what do people do? Like, what are real things that you can do to not have sad fat, to not have that? Well, there's a couple of things. I said,
right.
forgiveness is a
Yeah,
big thing, and
yes,
starting with forgiving yourself, regardless of anything, you
yes,
know, um, there and forgiveness isn't like giving somebody a pass or whatever. And forgiveness, for those of you that are in abuse or anything else, and I've been there, so I'm just going to say, forgiveness doesn't mean okay we get back together, or okay we hang out. And I'm not telling you get divorced, I'm not telling you do
yeah.
whatever. That's not what I'm saying.
It's
I'm saying forgiveness, you can forgive somebody and not even have a conversation with them.
right, right.
You can forgive them, and part of it is, I'm for giving up living in that story.
Yes, thank
I'm
you.
for giving up telling
Um,
and regurgitating that story, which fires off the electricity,
yeah,
magnetize the emotions. Then you're thinking and doing all those things. And that's one thing. And the other thing is really gratitude.
yeah.
So I want to like share with everybody, and I know I've told this to you, and I
Hmm.
shared this with one of the groups that I coach, and it's been a magnificent journey watching it. So Joe Dispenza's group, Encephalon, they actually did a scientific research and test on around all of this. And gratitude is the thing. It literally will change your
Yes,
DNA, your
yes,
chemistry, your everything.
yes,
So what they did was, there's a in our body we produce what's called immunoglobulin A.
yes,
It is our body's um, like flu shot, natural flu shot, immunity, all of those things, right? And so they took a group of people and they had them focus. So, like, if everybody listening right now, if you took 15 minutes a day and literally meditated, and all meditating in is it's really just deep thinking, staying focused on
yeah.
locking and loaded in your frequency, in everything you're grateful for, from your toothpaste to your bobby pins to your Q-tips to your underwear to everything. Okay. I don't know if I'm grateful for your underwear, but I'm glad you are.
Well, that's a different story. So we'll go there another time.
Exactly. So there's all that.
Yes,
And what they did though is they took it in 15 minutes a day, 3 times a day. By the fourth day, when they tested everybody, well, however they did it, however they do their electrodes and all the tests,
right.
each person had increased, or the average was at least 50%. They
Hmm.
increased the production of immunoglobulin A
Yeah,
in 4 days. That's your natural flu shot and
yep,
everything else. So I started thinking, because I grew up in a household that was taught gratitude. I've had this hum of gratitude, even in the midst of those just really awful things. I go treasure hunting. I look for
hmm,
things in the midst of those awful
yes,
things that
yes,
are treasures that I can be grateful for, right?
yes, yes,
Well, I haven't had a cold in over 30 years. I mean, these things that, and I started thinking, because of that.
yeah,
It
yeah.
was like, oh my gosh. So then I started doing that, right? The 3 times a day and writing
Yep.
it, because what you
Hmm.
write, you invite.
Yes.
So these are very real practical things, whoever's listening now or in the
Yeah.
future, that you can do that legit will.
Yeah. And I'm going to put it out there, try it for 3 days. Just
Mhm,
try it 3 times a day, 3 days, and see on the third day if you want to continue doing it or not.
100%.
Because I could guarantee it. You will see some sort of a difference
Mhm,
within you,
mhm,
and you'll see proof
mhm.
coming towards you.
You'll see synergies that are going to
Yes.
happen. Little things, you're going to think of somebody they're going to call. You're going
Yeah.
to see little things that are going to happen that are going to start to be proof and evidence to
Yes.
you that,
Yes.
ooh, I shifted a little bit, because
Yeah.
somebody just paid for my groceries, or somebody just did this for me, or
Yep.
somebody sent me a handwritten card versus a
An
text,
email.
or
Yeah.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean.
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
got this thing that I've been wanting forever. Like, I'll give you an example. This really cute top that I wanted, that was this color, that's, cold shoulder, and it's in that yummy, heavier polyester that,
Oh,
that's
yes.
just, and
Yes.
it was like, I don't know, $59. I'm like, I'm not going to buy that. And of course I'm not going to buy it. Right. And the other day I was walking through the mall to get somewhere. I saw it hanging on the end clearance, $4.96. I was like,
Yes.
oh,
Woohoo,
they had
woohoo.
one and it was a medium. I was like,
Perfect.
thank you. I mean,
Perfect.
but literally, I'm doing a happy dance. Like
Yeah.
I am, because you celebrate
Right. Yes.
when those things happen,
Of
because then
course.
you anchor it, right? And you
Yeah.
stack and stack and
Yep.
stack. It's
Yep.
so
And
great.
you anchor it into your body and your mind. Sorry, I
Yep.
should my head, but
And then what do? Then you bring in more back to you because you're like, ooh, I like that. Give me some more. Give me some more.
and it's a loop. It's a beautiful loop that you could create for yourself.
Yep.
And that is like a simple thing that we can do, but it's consistency. Commit
Mhm.
3 days. If you can commit 3 days, you will see some sort of a difference,
Oh, yeah.
and if you commit to it.
Yeah.
And, a lot of us don't. That's the thing. They'll do it for 1 to 2 days, and they go 3rd day, they forget about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
try to do it for 3 days this time and yeah, just see what happens, because I'm
Mhm.
just getting chills just by saying that, because I know and Cindy knows. I mean, we both know we've been doing this for a while, and yeah, I magnetized a lot of things into my life, and I've been having lots of synchronicity
Yeah.
this whole year. It's been like
Yeah.
that, and this year has been a life-changing year for me, in
Yes.
that I've become more in line with who I truly am, and the
Yeah.
Japan trip really just sealed it in, really.
100%.
Yeah.
And it's so beautiful to see when you see even little things. Pay attention.
Yes.
Pay attention to the things. We get so much on autopilot. Like you had a really fun experience. We have a really wonderful friend, Aaron Lloyd, who's a
Yes.
phenomenal actor, just a phenomenal man and human being.
Oh, yeah.
And and you guys both live in New York City. And what's so crazy is who bumps into somebody in New York City, and you climb on the subway, and who's sitting there, lo and behold,
I know. I get on the subway. I'm like, oh, there's a seat. And this is early in the morning because I'm heading to
there's
work.
no seats.
Yeah. And the train was empty. So I was like, oh, there's an empty seat over there. Let me just go sit over there. And I like sitting at
Right,
the edge. So,
right,
you know, so
right.
I'm like, oh, there's an empty seat. So I get in, I sit down, and I look over to who's sitting in front of me. There's Aaron. And we're both like, what the? And we just like get up and we're like, you know, but that was synchronicity, really, because and he and I are going to be working on some things together now.
Isn't that so
So
great? But
it's
pay attention
beautiful.
to all that.
Yeah.
And here's what's so great. Of course it
Yeah,
isn't.
we were wondering, but
I just called him, that's why.
oh,
Okay.
okay.
Here's what's so great, and you've got to say goodbye. I know. Is that your angels will
Yes,
conspire and
yes,
will bring you. So put it out there, say your prayers, do your thing. Okay,
yes.
thank you.
And mighty forces.
Oh, and we need to shout out to Chuck Hogan, who is the founder of Your Best Life, because I believe it's his birthday
Oh,
today.
happy birthday, Chuck. Yes. And also, thank you so much for being here today, Cindy Gould. And oh, we just had the greatest conversations. And everyone that's watching, we'll talk more about the mastermind as it comes, as it's coming. And we would love to have you there as well. So we will send information and all that as well. But on, it's time. So I have to call it now and say the show can also be heard on Spanglish Network, a radio network. Please check out spanglishworld.ca for all your news and programming. Spanglish World, watch it, hear it, read it, download it, and live it.
It is.
Thank you.
Thank